to Fly Nubian Money. Today's conversation is inspired by rapper Killer Mike's reaction to a dating show where women pass up a successful Black man for superficial reasons, like his height, outfit, and demeanor. Now, Killer Mike pointed out that some Black women don't always appreciate these so-called corny or well-spoken men, while other women, particularly white women, often recognize their value and snatch them up. Now, this conversation will explore the nature of labeling men as not good enough for reasons that they don't truly matter, and how this mindset impacts family building and relationships within the Black community. Let's talk about why certain Black men are overlooked and how these perceptions hurt us in the long run. Today, I have an excellent panel of queens and a king here for us today. We have Constance Carter, our wealth activist, Dr. Alicia Watkins, couples coach and social work professor. And then we have Joe Corley, our therapist, mental wellness coach, educator, and public speaker. So as you can see, we've got a diversity here, and I'm pretty sure, Joe, you know you're going to probably be picked on today a lot. So we welcome everyone who is watching us. You know, we love to call you family. So go ahead, put your comments in, because I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with the balloon show. So before we get into the conversation, let's look at the clip so that we can get this conversation going.
Oh, welcome in. Come on a little closer. Come on in. Don't be scared. What's your name?
My name is Tavarius.
Tavarius, how old are you?
I'm 29.
And what do you do?
I'm on tour for PBS Children's Story.
Oh, yeah. Like you write children's books?
Yeah,
or?
I have an animation company that I started when I was 21 years old.
Nice.
And then it's basically about my childhood and teaching young Black boys that Black dads do care.
Wow, I love that. Right, if we can start with your name and age and why you ended up popping your balloon.
Yes. Hi, I'm Ishi. I'm 28.
Nice to meet you.
Firstly, I want to say that you're a very well-rounded young man. Like, everything that you have going on, A1. It was the attraction for me, and then also the height. I'm pretty tall, so I want somebody that I can look up to.
Cool.
Now, is she someone that's your type?
I think she's very gorgeous.
Thank you.
I am 6'2", so I don't know how tall you are. But,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank
I'm
you.
5'6.5".
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. First of all, I'd like to hear from our viewership family. Are you guys familiar with this balloon popping show? Because it seems to be all the rage. Pretty much everybody knows. Capricorn Black said he loathes the show, but it does bring up a lot of really good questions. Now, me personally, I'm married, and I've been married for over 30 years. So I'm not going to answer for those who date, but I can just put in conversation about what I know about people that I love that are still dating. But Constance, let's start with you. How does passing up on men for superficial reasons like height and fashion or how they speak affect family building and strategic partnerships in the Black community? We always talk about Black love, right?
I know we always talking about Black love, but I am a victim. No, I'm guilty because I do it too. In some ways, right? But I would at least held on to the balloon till the brother got through. I probably would have popped it at some point because, physically he wouldn't have been my type. How he had his shirt tucked in his pants super tight and how he came out there. I wouldn't have, but I would have just at least given him an opportunity to say something, and then maybe. But yeah, I think we're all guilty of judging a book by its cover before we get to meet them. But you got to have some level of attraction. Now, the excuses that these women made, oh, you're just not tall enough, the brother is 6'2". Like, come on now, if you're not attracted, just say he's not my type. That's it.
I mean, some of these reasons are actually stupid. First, I honestly would like to hear what he does. I've never been one to go off of looks because it's never been in my personality. I want to hear what you got going for you. The minute you start talking about what he does, I was like, oh,
right.
This is like a very interesting man. I would like to know more about him. Dr. Alicia, do you think that we put way too much stress on that? And is this to our detriment? Are we passing up good things before we even know what we're giving him a chance or not?
Yeah, but attraction is important. I mean, you have to be attracted to someone. And if he's on a show like that, and he knows that that's the type of show where they pop their balloon just based on how you look. Maybe I think because I did watch a little bit more of the clip. Some of the women were just like, wasn't really feeling that outfit. They were kind of like Constance Carter. Like I didn't appreciate, or they didn't seem to enjoy his clothing choice, and they didn't. And what was interesting, I don't know if we'll get to this, is that to me it just seemed like it was a ripple effect. Like a couple of girls popped their balloon, and then a whole bunch of other ones seemed like they just scurried along and popped their balloons. And so he did not have the initial appearance of attraction, but the more he started speaking, I think the more attractive he was getting to people. So that goes to show for all of us, I think it's a wonderful social experiment about how we make decisions quickly and how we can roll some of those decisions back and change our minds.
Can I add to that though? You're right. I think this show, because what you said was very valid. This show is like a follow the leader type thing. So a lot of them will tend to go on what everybody else does, and then they just pop their balloon based upon everybody else popping their balloon, and it has absolutely no merit. And I think a few of them said he was too short, and a few of them said the other guys were too short, and they were all over 6 foot. It's like, y'all, come on, please.
What they want to be like? What's that?
Tall. Right? It's crazy.
It was really like I think if it had been me in his shoes, if I had walked out in front of a whole group of men and they all popped their balloons, right, I would be so embarrassed. I would be like, get me off this show. Like, I personally would not have been able to handle something like that. That would have been way too much for me. So I think, like, kudos to him for keeping his composure, and for, even though they did not like him, he was saying, "Well, I think you're absolutely beautiful." Like,
did he?
Himself in a way that I couldn't have done that at 29. I would have been like, man, forget these ladies.
That was so much tact, right? Because everybody that said no to me, I'd be like, nope. You think she's attractive? Nope. I don't went down the list. Nope. No, everybody I'd be like, nope. I'm gonna get my get back.
Okay, so then we have to ask our king. Now, listen, Joe, is there an unspoken pressure for Black men to fit a cool stereotype? And what happens when a man doesn't fit into that mold? Do you know it, or do you still shoot your shot?
Yeah, 100% there's a pressure, and there's always been a pressure. Like, I remember even going back to 9th grade, I've always been kind of a square dude. So I always wear my pants on my waist and all that other stuff. And I remember these girls behind me talking about, I just hate a man I hate a boy that got his pants on his waist. So I'm in my seat trying to scoop my pants down. You know what I mean? And there's always a pressure. And if you don't fit that mold, you're going to know it. All right. Because I think all of y'all are right. Nobody wants somebody who nobody else wants. So I think that was a part of like why a lot of them, when the women was popping their balloons. But the pressure to be, I guess, I don't know. I want to say cool, but I don't really want to say cool, is there. And, when you are labeled as corny, it's tough on you. It's tough on you, straight up.
I think we all have a pressure for that, but I'm going to throw a little bit of a twist in here. Just a few weeks ago, we were talking about this woman that came on who was crying like, I will take anybody. I just want somebody to love. You don't have to do nothing. I will do it all for you. But now we're seeing that she was an older lady. These ladies all seem to be in their early 20s and, I haven't seen too many above 30 on this show. So Constance, what does this say about the state of dating for Black women and men? Are we holding each other to impossible standards? Because honestly, if I don't like the way you dress, guess what? We can do the glow up. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can change an outfit, and so I think even that same woman who probably was crying to say she would take anybody when given the opportunity, she'd probably be just like the rest of these bitches. And then it's funny because Deborah Wool-Wynn said at least his pants were pulled up on his waist. His pants were pulled up to his chest, darling. Like, no. But I mean, give a little conversation. I am a very shallow when it comes to presentation, I would say. So, if you're like, I went out with the guy, and that's what Athena's talking about on there. I went out with the guy on Friday night, and we just met, and he showed up with looking like a truck driver. Like, he just got done driving an 18-wheeler. And I'm like, yeah, no, I can't even have a conversation with you because you got on this big old flannel shirt. And
That is crazy.
Yeah. What?
Does he drive
a
trucks?
nice restaurant and he had on a flannel. He looked like a Pendleton. No.
Okay.
You can't have a conversation with him?
Because as you're explaining that obviously was something that bothered you, that didn't initially attract you to him. But as you sat there and started talking through your date, Constance, did that ever change, or did that just turn you off all the way through?
The Pendleton was louder than the conversation.
Crazy.
Wow.
Joe, you hate me, Joe? Joe, you hate me?
I'm hating you right now. That's crazy. Pendleton was louder than the conversation.
Oh,
you feel me, Dr. Alicia? You feel me?
Okay, no, then expound
You can't
on
even
it.
have a conversation with the guy, though? I'm sorry. You can't even have a conversation with the guy?
Concentrate.
You can't concentrate. Okay.
Okay, so what could he have done to not have you listen to the Pendleton?
Not wear a baseball cap in a nice restaurant and not wear a flannel Pendleton. Maybe a black button-up shirt. Could have wore some jeans, button-up shirt, even a polo shirt or something like that on the first date.
He was not putting his best foot forward. He was not honoring you. He was not respecting you. He didn't think it through. It wasn't important to him. If you date somebody who just looked like they just rolled out of bed and didn't care much about their appearance and putting their best foot forward, I can tell you it's going to be a lot of disappointments in that relationship going forward. Yes, that says a lot about is what you're wearing. Are you mindful enough that what you're wearing matches the occasion? It is nothing wrong with being a truck driver guy, but be a truck driver guy. I think the point here is that you need to be yourself and be comfortable being yourself. And that's attractive. The corny thing is when men are awkward and they don't feel comfortable in their skin. They have a lot of anxiety.
You just said two different things, Dr. Alicia.
We want confident men. Women want men to be very confident in who and what they are. It's contagious. So if you're a flannel type of a guy, don't take a lady out to a fancy restaurant. Take a lady out to a restaurant that matches who and what you are. He's pretending to be somebody he is not, and it comes off as inauthentic.
Yep, we should have just met up at McDonald's.
Well, wait, I want to get deeper into that. And Joe, I know you have something to say, but we want to take a little short break right now. And when we come back, Joe, I want you to respond to Dr. Alicia, because I heard you say that sounded like that was contradictory. And I want to get more into that.
Yeah,
so
let's get into it, Joe.
Of the conversation. We'll be right back.
Hey, if you're just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I am Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I am the proud producer of this show. So I hope that every day when you join us, you leave a little smarter than you came, because that's the point. Otherwise, why are you watching? So if you want to receive notices for when we go live, Fly Nubian Money goes live every single day. That's Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you don't know, now you know. All you have to do is text the word Queens. That's Queens. That's Queens to 87948. That's 87948. That's Queens to 87948. Yes? If you want.
Can I say something real quick? Real quick? It wasn't last Friday. It was like 10 Fridays ago.
About what?
The date.
Oh. Okay. Joe, I do want you to get your I want to hear your point. I want to hear this balance. What do you feel that was contradictory?
Well, so you're saying on one hand, it's unattractive for somebody to be somebody they're not or represent something that they're not. And here this man comes up authentically the way he is. Now, you can't punish a man for not knowing what he don't know, So we don't know. I mean, I don't know how much context we have on the situation. But he was attracted enough to Constance to ask her out and, take her on a date somewhere. So to say that, he doesn't respect her because he showed up how he authentically like himself, I think that's just too far. You know what I mean? I don't think that's a matter of disrespect. Now, maybe he gets with you know, a woman like Constance who can elevate, you know, what he wears to fancy restaurants. But if you don't know, you don't know. I mean, do we know if he's somebody that typically, you know, frequents these type of restaurants, or, you know, did he know what? I mean, how many times you showed up to a restaurant and, you know, your wardrobe's been out of order because you didn't know what the wardrobe, you know, we don't know.
So we'll leave that to the younger ladies, because I'm almost 50 years old, and if you don't know at this point, then we don't need to have a conversation.
What?
You know, as a therapist, I'm always assessing everything. I assess nonverbal behavior, and there is nothing wrong with wearing flannel. Nothing wrong with it. But to go to a fancy restaurant presented in that way, it just makes me wonder about that person's self-awareness, their ability to be aware, to be able to scope the situation and to know this is a first date. Those first impressions are everlasting. And that's the time where you're going to say, do I wear a button-up shirt or do I just throw this flannel on? So I'm with you, Constance. Like, that is going to be one of many times where it's just going to be a little off there, and not quite reading the situation. If you're planning a date for someone and it's an important date for you, you would make sure that your appearance, things like that, mean a lot. You pay attention to those details, and men can do this, especially at our age. Men can do this.
Well, that makes me want to ask another question of you, Constance. Like, how much conversation did you have before you actually met?
Clearly not enough.
Okay.
So I definitely have a vetting process. I do. So
okay.
Depends on how I meet you. Then we gotta text. Then we gotta talk. Then we gotta FaceTime.
Okay. Well, I want to tackle something else.
We skipped the talking and the FaceTime, and we just went to dinner.
Okay. Now, will you do that again?
No, I don't normally do it. It was definitely, you know, I was like, okay, I ain't doing that tonight. And yeah, sure.
Well, Black Guy says your focus was misplaced. But if he ends up with a white woman, then everyone will call him a sellout. No.
There's women who don't care about that kind of stuff. So we're just not a match. And I'm not, you know, I'm joking, I'm clowning. We're just not a match. So it's no disrespect to that guy.
But you know that. You know that. So it's not like you're right. So
I want a man that knows how to go from the White House to the trap house to the cookout. You know what I'm saying? You know how to be appropriate in any of those situations. You know when to go to a black tie. You know what to wear. You know what to wear when it's time to go to a backyard barbecue when we out there talking shit, playing spades, playing dominoes. We ain't gonna really go to the trap house. But, you know, all those, you know how to just, you know, code switching those, moving those areas. That's what I like.
And what's your priority? Because, you know, who knows? You might have had that guy, but, you know, on your list of priorities, we don't know how high that is. So that could have transitioned into something else.
That's on the list. That's top. That's top.
Top on the list.
Yeah, the transition, the ability to transition into different spaces and move into different spaces. That's high on the priority list.
Okay.
Well, that leads me to another question for you, Joe. Like, you know, we hear the women's side, but how is your clique? would you vet women before going out as well? I mean, it's got to be mutual. You both got to feel like, okay, we're ready to go ahead and meet each other face to face. So I want to know what your process is.
Well, you know, disclaimer, you know, I've been married for a long time. So, but, you know, if I was into this situation, I would definitely have more conversations before stepping out, especially going to a fancy restaurant. And you know, time is valuable. I'm not doing that. I'm not finna try to get to know you while I'm spending a whole lot of money. We're gonna figure that out ahead of time. And then, you know, we'll meet up at this space. And by the time we get to this space, a lot of expectations will be understood. So I'll know more about, you know, what you expect from me, and you'll know more about what I expect from you before we show up at the spot. So I won't fumble, you know, I wouldn't fumble like that.
I think that's really important. But then let me tell you what McFact says. It says it's not about being who you are, it's fashion etiquette. For example, I was taught that a man never wears a hat or a cap indoors. Only women wear a headdress indoors. To this day, my husband, if he's even wearing a cap, which he doesn't anymore, but everybody that I know, every gentleman that I know, every man that I grew up with, they would take their hats off in church or in restaurants. As soon as they went into a door, their cap came off. Is this now a different etiquette for these younger generations? Do we still blame people and say that that's not well enough? Do you see that, Joe? I mean, you're a gentleman, you're wearing a cap, and I'm asking.
Yeah, and it's in some places it's a form of security. You know what I mean? It's just what it is. We got to be comfortable. I understand the mindset that we take our hats off indoors and all of that, but it's a different time. It's all a generational thing at this point. But it's also a preference thing. If that's your preference to go to a spot where a man, takes off his hat and his hairline's way back here, then what?
Shave that shit off, Joe. Shave it off.
You can't win. You know what I mean?
Why you walking around looking like Home in the Cloud, Joe?
Hat fishing. So what do we want to hat fish?
Stop releasing your face.
We trying to hat fish and you hating on it. Now
You see, don't be hat fishing, Joe.
You gotta hat fish.
All right, Dr. Alicia, I gotta hear your
thoughts. I think this is some of the reasons why men don't want to date is because they have these hangups and they have parts of themselves that they feel like uncomfortable about. And they're just like, you know what? I don't want to date anybody because if I get too close to another person, they're going to find out these things that I'm embarrassed about. So that's there. But also when I talk about self-awareness, I think the date would have gone better for Constance if the guy had said, you know what? I know I got this flannel on and we at this fancy restaurant, but you know what? I really love this is my good luck flannel shirt. Every time I wear this, good things happen. And so that's the reason why I have this on, because I really want good luck between me and you. Like, tell a story. Like, that's the self-awareness piece around it, is just knowing that, I don't match what's here, but I'm here because I heard you say this was your favorite restaurant, or I'm here because I've been in a suit all day and I don't feel comfortable. I want to relax myself, but I'm here for you. Like, if there had been a self-awareness enough where there had been a conversation around the fact that he wasn't matching the atmosphere of this nice date, I think that probably would have gone over better. I think with Constance, if there had been some image of knowledge that, I got this flannel thing on, but I'm really interested in you. Like some sort of discussion.
To your point, when he told me the restaurant we were going to, I looked at it and I said, oh, okay, I need to make sure that I'm dressed appropriately for this restaurant. So I made sure that I wore appropriate, I didn't know was I'm going to wear jeans. And then I looked and I was like, okay, this is not a jeans place. So I made sure I was dressed appropriately for it. So then when I walked up, I'm like, well, where are we going? Because I was thinking maybe we're going somewhere else, or maybe this is not the restaurant that he sent me, or I'm all kind of confused when we walk up. So I think he should have probably put a little bit more thought into that. I mean, we're of a certain age, so we're not talking about no 25, even 30-year-olds. We're talking about grown ass people in their 50s who should have, or late 40s, who should have had enough life experiences to know what's appropriate and what's not. And so it's not even about bashing the brother at all, because he was a nice guy, but we just don't share the same values, and that's not where my values lie. But there are just certain things that you just know that you're not compatible with, and that turn you on and don't turn you on. So that's just all it was. It's just a compatibility thing, a preference thing.
I think that's a great point for us to take a break, and then we'll continue to have this conversation. I still got more things to ask because this is deep and we're getting a lot of comments. And Constance, you are keeping me on my toes. It makes me very glad that I am a married woman for a very, very
it's hard out here for a pimp, girl.
We'll be right back.
You want to grow your money and not blow your money, as Constance says, check us out at flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, programs, videos, resources. In 2024, there's no reason to be broke when there's information all around us. So get your money right. flynubianmoney.com.
Get your money right. Get your money right. All right, I want to tackle some of the comments that were put in about this show because they were very interesting. And I think some of them will surprise you. So let's see what the general world is saying. Jay Rosie says, where are all the good men at? No, they look like a good man to me. By the time he said he was doing what he did, look like a good man to me. And JoJo says, I want to check out his animated children's stories. Sounds dope, right? Like somebody else is really interested in what he does. He shouldn't even be on this show. He's too good for that. Wow. Wow. I mean, I think it's bold and I think it's honorable if you want to just put yourself out there. He obviously can handle that. Amanda says she can't even watch it. This generation is ridiculous. Roughneck says, dude is 6'2", going places in life, well-spoken, intelligent, and it's still not enough. Brothers, we all cooked unless you trap Lord Pookie. I think Betsy said, listen,
Not
they
trap
think
Lord
he's
Pookie.
corny, but this is the man who will be a good husband, a good father, a great partner. I can feel his spirit, so I can tell he's an emotionally intelligent. You're gonna miss out. All right, we got some back and forth here, but listen, Trusso actually said, y'all see what's going on Pop the Balloon Show. It's a problem with women wanting more from men. They want these millionaires. Just be truthful about what's going on here. Joe, do you think that that's right? Or do you see something different going on?
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of cap, but I think that there are plenty of women out here that, just want a decent man, but also All-Star Weekend be crazy.
What? You go out there and pull them. It don't even matter what you wear.
We can be crazy, so they be out there, it's part true, part cap. You never know. You never know.
Dr. Alicia.
Joe, wait, let me ask Joe. So, what do you think about the brother's outfit, Joe?
Brother's outfit is crazy. I can't.
Okay.
I can't run. Having the waistline up here is wild business. That is wild business. I can't. No type of belt.
But he's got muscles.
Okay.
Yeah.
The outfit isn't that bad for me. I would have been okay with the outfit. I'm honoring and respecting the fact that those women had an issue with his outfit. I don't have an issue. Like some of the stuff I wear, I think it's really nice. My kids don't like it. So it's a generational thing. Today they told me I look like a crazy English teacher. That's what they call me today.
I don't know if it's the outfit, just kind of the way he's wearing it is kind of crazy. You know what I mean?
Kids will flame you though.
That brings us to a point. Listen, we're talking about his dress, all right? But Steve actually says, so it's okay for women to wear fake hair, eyelashes, fake boobs, fake butts, and makeup, and you got the nerve to be concerned about what a man wears.
Are we really going to even address this dumbass comment?
Yes.
Are we really going to address this dumbass comment?
Yes, we are.
That is the dumbest comment
ever.
Especially talking to a black woman.
Joe, expound.
Listen. Like I said, honoring again, like Dr. Lisa said, we honoring, other people's preferences. Yes, those women do exist, and those women get criticized, but also those women, they win sometimes. With all that.
I wear makeup and eyelashes. Most women do.
Okay, I think they went a little further than makeup and eyelashes, and then you're trying to stop at the makeup and eyelashes. It's a lot more that goes into it than that. But though, like I said, those women win sometimes, and just like brothers dress like this win sometimes. It's all about preferences and setting. You know what I mean? Like Dr. Lisa said, she wouldn't have a problem with the brother with the waistline up here. That's what she liked.
I like confidence.
Wait. We did say before we got on here, corny is subjective. So what would you consider corny?
For me, okay, I won't talk about what I consider corny, but I'll tell you what is like a turnoff for not only just me, but I think a lot of women. Listen, I would love for men to just be their authentic self, like for real, and be unapologetic about who and what they are and what their goals are. I like it to be, I like congruency. Like what you're about is congruent with what you put your time and money and effort into, right? So that sort of thing, that congruency is what I'm looking for, that People are looking for comfortableness. If you're a black guy who's into rollerblading and skateboarding, be that person. Like, don't try to be something different, because we can tell. Be confident and be assured of yourself. All of those things to me is attractive. It's attractive enough to say, hey, he don't even really care. He's just going on and being himself, living his dream. That is contagious. Like, that sense of confidence. I think what we don't like is just men who are real awkward in their skin, who aren't I don't like the nice guy syndrome. Like, that nice guy syndrome, men who are quote unquote nice guys, they have no boundaries. They always try to walk around trying to make everybody happy. Like, no, you cannot do that. Like, it's problematic being in a relationship with somebody who has that nice guy syndrome, because a lot of times they have trauma in their past, because they feel like they have to please everybody. It's some of those things that is a turnoff. Like, that's a turnoff. If I'm with somebody, I want to be with somebody who is not nice, but kind. Kind means I have boundaries around my time, my efforts. I'm not going out trying to please everybody. It's a turnoff sometimes. Be yourself.
So I put my therapist hat on. Oh, you gotta stop.
No, wait, go ahead. I want to hear what you got to say, Joe.
No, I was gonna say that I'm gonna put my therapist hat on for a second. I'm laughing and joking, but I think, Dr. Alicia, that speaks to your level of emotional intelligence and the quality of woman you are. To say the things that you're saying, but unfortunately, that's not the world we live in right now. I've done groups and podcasts with single women and got an understanding of kind of what is the mindset and what's out here, and it's not that, you know what I mean? And like for me, for someone who grew up articulate, getting good grades, and it gets ingrained in you that these things are corny because you're not outside, you're not in the street. I wasn't an adult until I figured out that this is what's up, this is where it's at, and I got comfortable and confident in those things. But I wouldn't walk into the room like, hey, got all A's, but that's because that's not what was being celebrated, so it all speaks to the kind of the quality woman you are to have that mindset.
I think sometimes we don't know either when we're first in the I'm going to speak for myself. I always was very uncomfortable in my own skin. I was always told that I didn't fit in. I was always told, you ain't one of us. I was always told, you ain't cute enough, or you was too pudgy, and you too, everything was too. And I wasn't strong enough or knew what I wanted in the early part. So I think that I was just flattered if anyone stepped to me. And I never anticipated or even expected someone or called them corny, because I felt like people were judging me. So why would I want to turn around and judge someone else who was interested in speaking to me? And I would always give them that opportunity. Now, after 2 or 3 conversations, I would know if the chemistry was there or not. But I think it also comes from what you're saying, not only the quality of people who we are, but sometimes we have to know who we are before we can tell other people what we expect within a relationship. Now, am I off?
No, that makes great sense. Like, it's nothing like someone trying to please everybody, which means they just they morph into any and everybody that they're around, and you don't know who they are for real. And they're not comfortable enough exploring and being set on who and what they are. But that's even worse, just somebody just kind of floating around, and they just, I've just become this person and that person, this identity crisis. At this age, as adults, you need to be well set in who you are. And if you ratchet, listen, there are ratchet people who have beautiful relationships, quote unquote ratchet, whatever that means. It doesn't mean you have to talk a certain way or be a certain way to find true love. When we're talking about matchmaking and finding somebody that's for you, there's somebody for you. You really have to be. I don't try to pretend that I'm not from Gary, Indiana. I don't try to pretend.
I can't believe you from Gary.
I believe it. So I don't try to do that, because there are people who are from Gary, Indiana, who have a beautiful relationship. They are not, quote unquote, speak so well, but they have great families that they come from. We don't have to be one way in order to find love and have healthy relationships.
I think that's on point. And sometimes it takes us a little bit longer to be comfortable in our own skin. I think. I think that this is such an interesting thing because everything is subjective. It's subjective to you, to our own self. What you may call corny, I may be like, well, that's a cute little quirk, right? So we have to understand that other people may not have that same want in someone else, and so then we get back to the chemistry, right? But I want to turn it around just a little bit because everybody had something to say, and so did Killer Mike. So let's say what Killer Mike, and he is a rapper for those who don't know who he is. He's been around quite a while. He's very loved in the community. And he says, white women gonna come along and snatch this upwardly mobile end up. Mark my words. They all fumble the ball. God bless them out. They so wrong is what this is commented about. Now I want to ask you, now what about this gentleman who he chooses or whatever, if he was to go to the other side or date a white woman,
He'd be corny. He'd be corny. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just think I hate the fact that Killer Mike tried to weaponize us with the whole white woman thing. When I was looking at the comments, because me and my daughter watched this show and we were looking at the comments, and somebody said, get rid of all the women and bring a whole new set of women because all of these women are trash, which is really what it was. If you look at the entire show, they didn't pick any. That was the only guy who actually got picked from that show. They were letting everybody go. All these 6 foot tall, 6'3" men, they were saying that they were too short. They didn't like the way their pants fit. They didn't like the way their shirt. So it wasn't even just him. It was just this group of women were just a terrible group. And so I think if you would have had another group of women, because it seemed like to me, I've watched the show for a while, and it seems to me that the show is just kind of getting more, I don't know, it's just really about them trying to, them saying things for likes or them trying to go viral in some way, because that's what happens to a lot of them is they end up going viral. Like this dude right here. Like
he was a little tough. Now, it's funny. I got sucked into this show, and sometimes you just go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time, and sometimes I feel embarrassed. Literally, like I know these people, like I be getting involved. But sometimes I feel embarrassed, like, oh, honey, who are you trying? Like, oh no, you can't be like trying to say something against someone else. Have you taken a good look at yourself or listen to yourself and the things that you're saying? But does Killer Mike have a truth to this? Joe, do you think that there's a truth to this where we would slam this man for dating outside of his race?
Will it happen? Yes. I think there is some truth to, and I don't agree with what Killer Mike said, but there is some truth to what he said at the same time. I feel like not too much on these ladies. They have the right to look at this man and decide immediately if they're not physically attracted to him. And if they are not physically attracted to him without knowing, they haven't reached a point, and some women get there from my experience. Some women get to a point where they're willing to accept, a lesser attracted person they're lesser attracted to in order to get all the other little tangibles together. And these women obviously haven't reached that point. And like I said, they have a right to look at somebody. It's important to be physically attracted to your partner. That for a long-term situation, like you want to be able to look over and be attracted to them.
Absolutely.
So that's too much.
Joe,
it's too much on these young ladies.
Joe, how old are you?
43.
Okay. So we're all 40 plus, and we talking about these little 23, 25-year-old women. Of course, they're going to be superficial. Of course, so that's what we also have to put into perspective as well. These are children that are old enough to be our children. And
back on what y'all said, like it's a follower generation. It's a follower generation.
I said you couldn't pay me to go back to be 20. I'm happy. I'm happy where I am right now. I don't want to ever be 20 again. Not even body wise. I look better now than I did in the 20s. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and we're going to finish discussing this because obviously this is a hot topic. We'll be right back.
Fly Nubian Money is now on Spotify. Yes, yes, yes. We are on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, you can listen to us. All you have to do is search Fly Nubian Money and we will appear. All of our episodes. Make sure that you leave a 5-star rating and review so other people that come along and are looking for a good show to watch, they'll follow us too. If you are interested in being on Fly Nubian Money, sorry, I don't have any spaces. I'm just playing. If you are interested in being a queen or a king on Fly Nubian Money for the day, please reach out to me. I'm at info@realvirtual.net. That's info@realvirtual.net. Also, if you need help with your business, go ahead and send me an email for that too. Okay. I've said enough. Now back to the show.
Because we do all the things.
All the things.
All the things.
All the things, honey.
And we would love for you to do everything that we're asking you to do, because you know what? You know you love us. So you want to make sure that you don't miss us on our show or on Spotify. Now, listen, I'm asking you, Constance, because you do talk freely about dating. So is the corny black man stereotype pushing black women toward a dating crisis? And are we limiting the options?
Yes, because there is this social media fantasy, I think, that is going on out there with what, remember the Cheesecake Factory and the whole thing, right? So I went out with someone and we just went to have breakfast, right? And then we didn't even end up eating breakfast. We just ended up drinking coffee and having a great conversation for a couple of hours. And then we just kind of walked around and, went furniture perusing. And that was really, really nice. There's this standard that I think that a lot of these young women have based upon what they hear in social media. They want to live the soft life. They don't want to do 50-50. They don't want to be independent no more. They want, it's just this whole thing. And so I think for those people, it's very unrealistic, just based upon what we hear on social media. And I think he who has the loudest podcast mic is who gets heard. And so it's a lot of foolishness that's being pushed out there. But I do think if you have some checks and balances in place, it's not hard. It's really not hard. Well, actually, I can't say that. It depends on where you are. Where I am, it's not really hard to find interesting people to date, even though they do say here, it's like 5 to 1 or something like that. But, I just, if you're a quality person, then you're going to attract quality people. And I think people just have to be quality people so that it can be reciprocated.
I think the law of attraction is a very real thing.
100%.
I really, really do. What energy we put out, how we present ourselves, how we walk into a room. We all know that sometimes we've heard people say, I didn't even know that, Constance was here. I just felt her energy before she walked in the room. I think we put that out and we get what we put out a lot of the times. But I want to ask you, Dr. Alicia, do you really think that social media is giving us illusions that you're missing out if you settle on someone, or or should we all wait till we think something is better along? And what is better? Is social media guiding us?
I think, boy, we could sure point fingers at social media. I think, yeah, for sure. Social media does a really good job of perpetuating this toxic culture that a lot of us are participating in. And I think that it would be great for us to turn our phones off, get off of social media, take a diet from social media, and really get out into the world and start talking to somebody. I think that if you're available, like absolutely available to be in a relationship with someone, I don't think that you should approach it where I'm going to try to find a partner. Just approach it where you're just interested in learning, meeting new people, and just getting to know other people. Like, let that be your focus. And then you will see if love comes in on the other flip side of that. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself to be like sizing somebody up and what do they have on? And, first person you meet, you're like, can I imagine myself with them 5 years from now? And we're love, marriage, and the baby carriage. Like, don't let yourself get drifted away with this sort of thinking about this is what I want. Just stick with, I just want to meet interesting people. Maybe for Constance, I'm new in this city. I want to network and get to meet other people, things you're interested in. If you're interested in karaoke singing, just go sing karaoke every Thursday night. Do some stepping every Sunday night. I used to salsa dance in Chicago every Thursday night. I'd be at Lalo's salsa dancing and just doing things that you have fun doing, meeting interesting people, and then maybe you'll find something. But don't let finding somebody just be your main focus.
People be too thirsty, Dr. Alicia, don't they?
Too thirsty. Nothing turns me off. Listen, insecurity and neediness and clinginess. This is what corny men are, men who want to text you all day long, clinging to you. It's like, dang, get off of me.
Don't you got some
I gotta speak on that. My husband and I do that all day long. But even though we don't have to be in the same room together, there's something to that just makes me feel loved. Like if he's running errands or, and I wasn't up before he left, it's nice to say, hey, when you get up, babe, I just want to hear your voice. Or, I don't see that as clingy. But then again, we also went through this whole cycle you do in a marriage. Like when we were in our 20s, I was clingy. I thought I was supposed to be the one that's supposed to be all up under them. Get up under me. But then we got this balance, and now we've got this rhythm. So I don't really see that as corny. But I do want to ask you, Joe, when Black men are dismissed by Black women for being corny or well-spoken, do you think that they feel unvalued or undervalued?
I think so. Part of being a Black man, you get tied to what it is you do. So if there's, if I'm doing a certain thing and I'm good at a certain thing and, that thing is considered corny or invaluable, then I then start to question my own self-worth and my own value. That's just what it is, whether that's healthy or not, we can go back and forth on that. But so if somebody's going to, if I'm, I don't know, a stockbroker or whatever it is, somebody would be considered corny. And, and I'm being pushed aside because I'm this thing, then yeah, there is going to be some devaluing internally of me as a Black man. That's just
Joe, we still worried about that at 41 though?
Yeah, because like I said, what are we talking about? We're talking about increasing our emotional intelligence, right? So, I mean, we're not talking about the guys that's in, when I say in the gym, I mean in the therapy rooms, working on themselves, building up their emotional intelligence and their vulnerability. We're not talking about them. We're talking about the guys who haven't, tapped into that yet. If you ask me a general question based on the Black men that I see, yes, it is very easy for a Black man to feel devalued if you're going to start, criticizing who they are overall, especially if their corniness is tied to what it is that they're actually good at. I mean, yes. So, yeah.
Yeah, we got to do a better job of raising self-confident men because I can't see my son being in his 40s and he is doing something very well and someone could come and he's very confident in that thing in which he does. And some woman can come along and make him doubt himself based upon her opinion. Mm-hmm. So that
and you better get your son offline. You better get your son offline. You know what I mean? Because that's what's happening to him. I guarantee you, the especially in this generation, you scrolling and you go into them comments and look how females talk about under certain pictures of certain guys, and if you're not matching up to that, you're going to feel, like I said, if you're not working on yourself, you're going to feel some level of insecurity. I don't care how old you are. That's just what's happening right now. And I'm telling you from not from my part, I work on myself. So you couldn't bother me with that type of stuff. And there's men that I see that I'm helping them work on that type of stuff. But there's just a lot of men who haven't tapped into that yet. And, they find their value in, a woman's opinion.
Well, you're certainly giving me conversations to have with my boys because I have 3 of them, and so I'm not disregarding what you're saying at all. And that's interesting because I'm not a man, so I don't know how that works. But it's certainly something that I definitely want to make sure that my boys are secure in who they are and what they do, and can't no young lady come along and destroy
There's confident. There's confident men out here. I mean, I don't. You asking me in general, right? Like, so yeah, there's confident men out here, and how easy it is to devalue a man. That's just me talking in general. But I mean, women make the world go round. I mean, we know this, right?
That's what women say that one more time, because that's what women need to understand. Women make the world go round. We sell ourselves too cheap, and we give stuff away, and these men think that they are the prize.
Right, and that's the problem. Like the women who give it away cheap make it difficult for the ones who won't. So if and like I said, when everything is based on, for the most part, a woman's opinion. I mean, that's just facts.
That's real talk. That's real talk. Because, as much as we've been laughing and having conversations, we do have to speak to our young men to know their value as well. So, Dr. Alicia, what steps can we take to shift the mindset in our community to value things like emotional intelligence, success, and family building over the superficial traits?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about social media kind of plays up these stereotypes of this toxicity between particularly Black men and women. I mean, it'd be really nice if we had some media where we can show a more complete picture. There's nothing more oppressive than seeing representations of yourself that doesn't reflect who and what you are. I think that we are, as a people, are just locked into this little box, so to speak, where we only see one-dimensional sides of who we are. We're diverse in our complexities and the things that we enjoy and love. And I don't really have ever seen accurate representations of me on the media at all. But guess what? There's tens of thousands of people just that's not different from myself at all. But we're invisible. And so this invisibleness makes us feel like, what's wrong with me? I'm not on board with some of these thoughts and these ideas and these ways of relating to each other. I can't get on board with this toxicity. And so it's a little frustrating. So I think one of the good things is just to know, hey, y'all not alone. I know that you are struggling in this way of representation of what's validated. And just know that you're not by yourself. It'd be really nice if we could get like-minded people together more often than we really do, to be able to be refreshed. Nothing's more refreshing than to be around people that's like yourself, because we're like a fish out of water. We don't fit in a lot of places, and we don't fit these stereotypes. So it is a problem with representation.
Agreed.
I think that's a great point. Now, Joe, you mentioned mentorship. So how in your community would you advise young men of the things that we just talked about on how to value themselves more and still be respectful and still go for what their dreams are too, without feeling like they have to fit in? What are the types of things that you speak to our young men about?
Sure. I'm always first attacking the shame and the guilt of a young person, a young man. Like, what are you ashamed of? What do you feel guilty about? What is it about yourself that you don't like? And, I try to help them see the value in authenticity and vulnerability. The more you talk about these things, the less you are embarrassed, because you find out that you're not alone in a lot of ways. There are a lot of people that deal with some of the same things that you're dealing with. And there's a lot of, other people who are attracted to these things. So first is always about authenticity and vulnerability. The more you push a vulnerability on a young person, the more they feel comfortable being their authentic self. And then they don't grow up with some of these hangups that, these grown folks grow up and have, because they never dealt with it. So, I mean, it's all subjective and, case by case, but for the most part, authenticity, vulnerability, that's where we go. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. It does. Constance, how does that ring true for you and your boys?
I just have to, it's so funny because I'm not a man, so I can only give them the perspective from a woman. And it's funny because the dynamics of these young people relationship is very different. And I taught my boys to be gentlemen. I really have. And I remember when my son came back after his freshman year, he said, "Mom, you taught me to be a gentleman, but everybody doesn't deserve me to treat them like a gentleman." And I'm like, "No, everybody." He's like, "Everybody's not nice like you, Mom." And I say, you still got to be yourself no matter what. You don't have to be a pushover, but still be respectful. So that was my first son. My second son, now he's a junior in college. Now my second son, who's a freshman in college, he's like, "Yeah, I'm not trying to get tied down with none of these because they all play games. All they do is play games with your heart, and I'm not trying to get my heart. I'm not." And I'm like, "But me and your sister are you have an example right here. All women aren't like that." He's like, "Mom, everybody's not like you and Kai. These women, these girls are snakes." So for me, having these boys who have these relationships with women, which I'm telling them, because I know a lot of great young women out there. They're saying, if we're too vulnerable, if we're too giving, because a lot of my oldest son especially have been taken advantage by young girls. So it's difficult to try to help them to navigate, the relationships, because I guess these youngsters, they a little bit different. They like the little pop the balloon, and you got to have certain things, and you got to have certain swag, and you can't be too nice. And I hate that for us, though. I hate that my son can't treat a young lady like a young lady because they don't appreciate being treated like a young lady. They think it's
right. And what happens to building together? At some point, you're building together. That's what I see as a disconnect. Am I wrong on that, Dr. Alicia? Do you think that I'm off base with that? What's wrong with wanting, even though you have your life, building something together?
Oh, building something together is beautiful, particularly when you're in college and nobody got money and you got these goals. Like it's a great budding place where you're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and you're not quite cynical yet. You believe you can go out and have these lofty dreams. It is so wonderful to have somebody, a significant other, particularly, that you can share that with. What I love Constance is saying is that she's trying to teach her sons boundaries, appropriate boundaries. I think she wants her sons to be kind. And it's different. She wants them to be kind, which is different from being nice. It's having boundaries. It's saying, this is not the type of thing that works for me. They don't need to explain anything, but you don't have to step outside of yourself and be disrespectful because that person was disrespectful to you. That's just a signal that that's not your person, right? You just move on. And I really do think that they will come across women who feel exactly the same way they do, where they have something in common. It just takes time. Again, if you want to find authentic love, you have to be lovable. Somebody
That's it.
like that. Yeah.
You want to find authentic love, you got to be lovable. And my son, he brought his girlfriend home summer before last. His first college girlfriend. He was holding the girl's purse, and then she was just kind of like, I seen some little things that I didn't really like about her, and so I had to pull him to the side, and I was like, "Son, there's just a couple of things, I don't want to be in your business. Do not tell this girl I said this, but number one, I don't ever want to see you holding her purse again, unless she's pregnant or something. But you're 18, I don't want you holding this little girl's purse. Number one. Number two, if she is this way around me, I can imagine what she does around other people. So if you allow her to be disrespectful around other people, guess what's going to happen? Other people are going to disrespect you if you allow her to disrespect you." I said, but I just want you to, have these boundaries and make sure that you exhibit these things. And I said, but don't tell her what I said, because if you tell her what I said, then it's just going to negate anything. She's not going to listen to you. So there was this episode on SpongeBob, and I always reference, I love SpongeBob. There's a reference on SpongeBob where, this bully was going to kick SpongeBob's butt, right? And so Mrs. Puffs came to his rescue, and she was like, she went to go talk to the bully to make sure he didn't beat up SpongeBob. And so she goes to SpongeBob. She goes, "Guess what? I talked to such and such." And she was like, "I used your name." And he was like, "No." That's exactly the same thing my son did. He went back and told the girl, "My mama said," and she didn't listen to nothing that he said about how he felt, because he said, "My mama said." So,
but lesson learned. Sometimes you have to live that lesson, right? So this whole thing that we've been talking about, and this pop the balloon, let's see if he chose a date, because we know that he did. So this was the saddest end. Man's got the woman with the kid that just left her baby's father 7 months ago. And someone said to each its own, kudos to them. But me personally, I'm not taking a dancer with a fresh 2-year-old home to my mama. Wow. And then, Killer Mike had a couple more things to say as well. But I feel like he kind of overstepped on a lot of people. He says Karen's daughter gonna pull up playing that Sam Smith smoking Kush and get her a king from Kermit.
Damn it.
Damn it. That's how daggone old I am. I didn't even get it. I'm telling you, you don't want to end who own a lake house and write books for PBS. I would yell at my daughter. And then someone said, not just a white woman. Oh, I missed the last part. I want to see the last comment. Not just a white woman, any smart woman. So in the end, he chooses a date. And as I recall, there's a lot of times people leave there without a date. Oh boy, we really dug into this today. I've learned something. I have been able to share just a little bit with you guys. I love having our king's perspective for sure.
I know, it's refreshing.
It does. It really does help us. Now, listen, before we go into final thoughts, I definitely want to remind our family out there who is watching us that if you are an entrepreneur, we always talk about raising up and helping one another. And if you're looking to get your brand noticed, you can advertise with us on Fly Nubian Money. We go live 5 days a week at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we have a lot of people who watch. So we have a distribution to millions of subscribers. Our audience is engaged, just like you are right now, intelligent and ready to connect with new businesses like yours. Now, this is your chance to reach people who want to know about your business. So don't miss out. And Christmas is coming. You know what? Maybe you've got something cool that you want to share that will go into that Christmas stocking. Yes, it is October 1st. So all you have to do is email us at info@realvirtual.net. info@REELVIRTUAL.net. So make sure that you put in Fly Nubian Money ad in the subject line, and we will send you the rates. And we can help you grow your business together. So this hour always goes fast. I'm like in the twilight zone fast. But I do want to hear final thoughts and where we can find you. Let's start with Dr. Alicia.
Okay. In all seriousness, Killer Mike has a point. A lot of people set out to say, I want this type of person. I really want to, I'm interested in this 6-figure man, whatever that they're interested in. And then when they get presented with exactly what they're looking for, fear kicks in and they pop that balloon, metaphorically speaking, and then they sabotage the whole thing. So you do need to be cognizant of the incongruence between what you say you really want and when it's offered to you. Or do you feel like you're really worthy to step up to that sort of thing that's presented to you? So I want to make that point in all seriousness today. I'm in a little silly mood today. Now, you can contact me if you want to work with me at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. There's my website. Fill out the intake. I will get back to you and we can start our work together on how to be lovable. And catch me on Instagram at Coaching with Dr. Alicia.
And you should make sure that you do that. I secretly stalk everybody that comes on here. So I have been to everyone's pages and she's got a lot of great stuff too. So Constance, what are your final thoughts and where can we find you?
I was just listening to Dr. Alicia, and I say to each their own. We talk about our lists. And when I became single, I did what everybody said to do. Do a list. What do you want? All that stuff. And then when that list shows up, you may not, it might not be presented in the package that you want. And so you have to be able to deal with that. So I scrapped my list. I know that there are some basic core values that I have, but I just said, I'm just going to let go and let God and change my language around what it is that I want versus what I don't have. So instead of me saying, because I really don't like nobody. I don't be liking nobody. But instead of me saying that, I'll just say I haven't met him yet. And so just changing the language, when we're out there dating, there is somebody for everybody. Just like you can have wealth, you can have abundance, you can have all the things that you want on this earth. you could have somebody that's really meant for you. It's going to take, the work that you put in yourself, and it's going to take the things that you put out there in the universe. In order to get a quality person, you got to be a quality person. And that's the bottom line. So whatever everybody else is out there doing, it don't even matter, because as long as you are who you are and the best version of yourself, you're going to get that back. Where can you find me? Everywhere. I am Constance Carter. Tonight, we have the real estate investment training with Dr. Boyce and I. Every other Tuesday night, we're going to have a session tonight, session next week. It's not too late to join the Real Estate Mastery, the B1 Real Estate Mastery. And guess what? We are about to, as a group, start investing in some areas. We're picking up property right now. So that's what the special training is going to be about tonight. That also for my Net 7 Collective, where I coach Black women from all over the country. We're in our 4th cohort. We're actually in the process of writing a great anthology, a great book. But the next cohort, cohort 5, is getting ready to come up. And so now I'm taking people for the wait list for that. And so I just want to help pour into Black women and help you to build your net worth to at least 7 figures.
She said seven.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So you want to make sure that you jump in on that, because I'm a firm believer when it comes to real estate, that is a part of building your generational wealth. And she's got a lot of great stuff. So Joe, what are your final thoughts, and where can we find you?
Yeah, my final thought is I just want to briefly touch on human behavior and the kind of society that we live in. We live in a fit-in society where we just want to fit in. And we do that out of our fear of rejection. Nobody likes to be rejected. I mean, I don't know anybody that likes to be rejected. If you know somebody, let me know. I would like to talk to them. So, we can sometimes disregard our authenticity and our vulnerability and shrink ourselves to fit into spaces that are too big are too small for us. So I think that's a lot of what's happening here. People shrinking themselves or being shamed into shrinking themselves to fit into a space that that's not made for them. So to piggyback on what Constance and Dr. Alicia said, be authentic, and to each his own. Your person is your person. So, Killer Mike, a little too much on these women right now. Your person is your person. You can, and that's just what it is. And you shouldn't be shamed or, casted away because you have preferences, but also learn your most authentic self so that your person can find you too. And that's how you get into the spaces that belong to you. And you can find me on Instagram, Facebook at jcorley80, or you can go right to my website, consulting.com. Just getting started. So I'm out here. And also, fellas, if you go into a fancy restaurant with a woman, do your research and make sure that you know the dress code before you stepping in there.
We brought him over to the dark side, Dr. Alicia. We brought him over to the dark side. Dr. Joe, where you from? Are you from Cali?
No. I'm from St. Louis. So
Oh,
Midwest. I'm right up under Gary.
Okay, so you like the Lakers. Oh, okay. He's from your area. Okay, Dr. Alicia. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love it. And we'd love to hear the male perspective. And here's my final thoughts and where you can find me. Listen, you've got to know yourself before you worry about someone else who's supposed to know you. You can shut out a lot of good people who could be beautiful life partners if you don't know who you are. So take the time to learn a little bit more about yourself. If that includes going to therapy, go ahead, reach out to Joe or reach out to Dr. Alicia, because it is very important to know that you need to be comfortable in your skin. And you can't expect someone else to be your partner if you don't even know who you are. And you can find me at bit.ly/Laura Key Info. All of my social media is there. I have some great free resources for you. And I actually have a little seminar coming up about buying homes. And if you want to get on that list, sign up for the newsletter at that link. And let's start building your generational wealth. I want to say thank you to everyone who has joined us today. We absolutely love that we have viewership family. Your comments have been wonderful. Keep them coming because we always like to go back and read them. As you see, a lot of us are active on all the social media. We do go back and read them and take them into consideration. But this conversation is an important one because it challenges us to really look at how we value each other in the dating world. Are we passing up on potential life partners for reasons that don't matter in the long run? And let's think about the impact this has on our relationships and community and start making better choices when it comes to who we build with. Now, we'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure that you text the word Queens, Queens, to 87948 to get updates when we go live. And don't forget, you can catch us on Fly Nubian Money on Spotify. So stay blessed, stay informed, and keep mastering your mindset and maximizing your money. Have a blessed day. Bye.